No, it'll mute it on its own. Okay. All right, we are live. Welcome to tonight's segment, Breaking Generational Trauma. I am super, super excited to have to talk about this topic. And everybody that know me know that I love talking about generational trauma. So for those that don't know me, I am Shanice. I am an inspirational, motivational speaker. I am also an author and a transformational life coach, and I am coming here to transform your thinking and to challenge your perspective tonight around generational trauma. I got some heavy hitters tonight. I have Darika, I have Tanisha. If I say y'all name wrong, charge my mouth, not my heart. Okay, I don't mean no harm. I got Shalisa tonight, and we are coming to talk about trauma, something that I feel like is plaguing families. It tried to form against us, but we are not having it. We was able to identify it and to break down those walls. So tonight we're going to be talking about different topics, different trauma that plagues bloodlines, and how you'll be able to identify it and be able to overcome it through the blood of the lamb. Okay, sometimes we just need a little blood transfusion. That ain't nothing too hard for Jesus. Okay, so if you don't know, okay, if you don't know you need one, hey, you are in for a treat tonight. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. You guys know who I am. I'm gonna let Darika introduce herself, and all of us are mompreneurs. So I'm gonna let Darika and Tanisha and Shalisa introduce themselves to talk about their business and why they got started. And yeah, so go ahead, Darika. You got the floor.
Okay, I guess I wasn't expecting to go first, but all right. I'm Darika Rollins, mom of one little amazing girl who is uh she's a light to the world, I must say. I was not expecting to become a mother. Actually, I my daughter was premature, and I actually had fertility issues prior to conceiving her. So she's my little miracle baby, and everything that we expected for her as premature. She was born at 28 weeks. She beat all of the odds of that. She beat the odds of infertility as well as prematurity. So she's my little miracle baby, and I take so much pride in being her mom. And I am a business owner. I own World Class Exchange LLC, which is the only Black-owned international relations company in the United States of America. And
Only
and there's other few other things, but I'm not gonna gas myself up right now. But
gas yourself up. Gas it.
but I am happy to be here. I'm happy to join this conversation. Shanice and I have known each other since we were kids, and it's just amazing to be able to connect on this level as adults, on our grown woman mompreneur stuff. It's an honor to be a part of her journey and seeing how far she has come. I know this is supposed to be about me, but I gotta give credit to the host.
Go ahead,
inviting
girl.
us. Seeing her journey and her transformation is so inspiring, and I'm just honored to be here and be able to give the wisdom that I've learned along the way in my journey.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, everyone.
All right, Tanisha, go ahead and introduce yourself, girl.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tynesha Earl. I am a wife to a phenomenal man and a mother to a phenomenal 11-year-old son. And to be honest, I just thank God for the opportunity to be here. Like, I just appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm just so thankful. I really am. And I'm a prophetic voice in the kingdom. I'm a teacher, I'm a speaker, singer, coach, and host and founder of She Holds Worth podcast, where I help kingdom women who struggle with identity, heal, build, and restore their God-given identity. And to be honest, the reason why I moved into, I'm a momopreneur, if I said it wrong, excuse me. But the reason why, I moved into that direction is because, to be honest, 9 to 5 is not me. Having more time with my family, more flexibility, just more freedom to be able to enjoy it, enjoy my family whenever. That's 100% me. I love adventure. I love to be able to explore the beauties of life instead of being tied down to one thing. Listen, God graced us women with many gifts. It's time for us to explore it.
Do you
and
hear
for me
me
personally, I can explore that being tied down to one job. So I said,
wow.
You know what, Lord, allow me to go in the direction you want me to go. So here I am now, and I'm loving the direction that God wants me to, especially with help building and help restoring different women. God is good. So that's why I led into, and I thank you so much, Shanice, for the opportunity to be able to speak. And thank you, ladies, also.
Y'all is gassing me up.
I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to empower each other. That's what we need to
That's
do.
right. That's right. She holds worth.
Yes.
Yes.
Now come on, Shalisa.
Okay.
Gas me up now. No, I'm saying.
Okay, my name is Shalisa Dixon. I'm a mom of 2, 1 boy, 1 girl. I'm excited to be here also because trauma is something that I've rested in and hid in for so long, and I'm appreciative for the growth that God has blessed me with in the past 2 years. I'm grateful for my friend Shanice. We've been childhood friends for a long time. But as we all grow up and have children, we all, lose, time with each other. And I feel like God brought us back together, purposefully. And I love my friend, and I'm so happy for her. I'm proud of her. She inspires me as well to keep on, digging, deeper in my spirituality and getting closer to God, and also dealing with my traumas because in order for us to grow and fully walk in our purpose, we have to walk in our truth. I am a business owner.
You hit it already. Y'all.
2 businesses, Minds LLC, and also I have a customs design business where we create all things customs, where I partner with my daughter with Marie Designs. And as I said before, I'm so grateful to be here with you guys.
I'm gonna give y'all a clap because I don't think people understand how much it takes for a mom to not only be a mom. We have to we have to run a business. We're healing from generational trauma. We're healing from our own trauma. We're healing from relationships. We are dealing with so much on a daily. So to be able to just be up right now at 7:00 and our eyes are still up and moving, it's amazing. So I'm so happy that you guys are here tonight. And like I said, you guys are in for a treat for those that are watching. Shalisa went off, but she's probably gonna come right back on. So we're just gonna jump in. See. She came back on. So we're just gonna jump right in and start talking about our different topics that we have tonight. Of course, we're dealing with trauma, and maybe many of you do not know what generational trauma is. How does it get to our bloodline? So we're gonna dig deep. We're gonna talk about it tonight. We're gonna talk about different topics on why trauma goes through our bloodline. And the very first thing I want to talk about is depression. I seen the meme on Facebook. And this young man, he was crying. You could tell he was depressed. And he said, "Mom, I'm depressed." But it was a meme. And she said, "Depress those dishes." And even though the meme was funny, and that's a lot that we hear in the African American household. However, it wasn't funny because I suffer from depression. and I suffered in silence and I suffered alone. And that's because I did not have no one to talk to, because no one was creating a safe place for me, right? So we want to be able to create a safe place to talk. And I didn't have that. And that's one of the ways how trauma can enter our bloodline, because we sit here and we suffer alone. We suffer in silence. We suffer in our trauma alone because we feel like, man, if I tell this person or what's happening, for one, they probably gonna tell everybody in the family, or for two, they're gonna look at me as if something is wrong with me and get the attention off of them. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna suffer alone and suffer by myself. So I want to tag with, I'm gonna go hit you first, Tanisha. What is it, something that was in your household, was creating a safe place was something that you had, or you felt like you had to suffer alone and you didn't have that roadmap to healing and to wholeness? And if so, what did that do to you? Or did you have a safe place inside your home?
You talking about when I was younger? Did I have a safe place
Yes.
at home?
Yes.
To be honest, no, I didn't have a safe place, to be able to express the real me, to be able to express what I really was going through. Because to be honest, I don't even think that they were able to handle it. They was able to handle some of the stuff that was going internally through me. Sometimes our parents could be a bit brush offish, like, say that for later and stuff. I didn't really have that place, no, to be able to express what was really going on inside me. So I grew up actually being very secretive, being really, keeping a lot of things to myself. And, it kind of messed up my relationships, growing up and not being expressive. But when I grew up, I learned how to, it's okay to be able to express. It's okay to, have a therapist and have someone to talk to. It's okay to open up and share what's really going on, because I was walking, but I was dying inside. I was living,
Yes.
but I was dying inside.
Darika, how about you?
So I actually did have a safe space. My grandmother, who has been like my number one supporter through everything, always made it safe for me to speak my mind and to express myself, even when I didn't know what I was expressing. Just being able to talk to her, and even when I would get upset with her, and I didn't want to talk, I would like write her little letters and tell her how I felt, and she would read them, and we would have conversations that were prompted by the letters that I wrote, because I couldn't verbally express what I wanted to say. So I would write it down. And so she just always made it a safe space for me to get out whatever it is that I needed to get out. And of course, I would try to do it in the most respectful way. But as kids, sometimes, especially when you become a teenager, you start really thinking, you start smelling yourself and you think you're grown, and so there were some times where it wasn't always respectful, but even in that, she was able to keep herself calm. And she would check me. She would absolutely check me, but she checked me in a way that would actually diffuse the situation, as opposed to continuing to create and to escalate the situation more. So my grandmother was intricate in allowing me that safe space to express myself.
Shalisa, I'm gonna let you have the floor, but I want to elaborate a little bit more on Darika when she said that your grandmother diffused it and not added fire. And I feel like a lot in the Black community, when we express ourselves and then they add to it, like they say something, and now I'm pissed because I was pissed at the beginning. So now I'm mad, and now I'm saying stuff, and now you're saying stuff. Not everybody is yelling, and no one is coming into a conclusion on how or finding a solution to the problem. And one thing I noticed in my home, it was no communication. So one of the things, my coping mechanism was to get my point across. So you won't know that I don't know how to express myself. I'm gonna yell over you So I won't have to hear what you say. And then when you're ready to talk, I shut down. Not because I was being disrespectful. I seriously did not know how to explain myself. And that's why we have this stigma of she's an angry Black woman. No, a lot of us don't know how to express ourselves, and we express it through anger.
Yeah.
So, Shalisa, I want you to talk about, did you have a safe place? And if you didn't have a safe place, how did that affect you growing up?
Honestly, I feel like the topic can go either way and can be misconstrued, if that makes sense, because like, of course your home is a safe place, but being able to actually sit down and talk to your mom about certain things that you went through throughout the day. Hey mom, I'm feeling this. I didn't have that safe place, if that makes sense. So I wasn't able to just go and sit down and talk to my mom about anything. Like, I'm really big now as a mom with creating a safe place for my kids to come and talk to me about anything. If it's, problems at school, when you become a teenager, you're thinking about having sex, or you want to go out and drink with friends. I want my daughter to be able to come to me and talk to me about anything. I wasn't able to do that with my mom. My mom used to always tell me, I'm not your best friend.
I ain't your friend.
But like, as Black, not trying to, make it a race thing, because I feel like, each race goes through, certain traumas and don't have really a safe place to vent or a safe place to just allow themselves to feel. You get what I'm saying? Because sometimes we just want to feel how we feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man.
Yes. Let me feel.
Yeah. Like today I had a stressful day. Then you come home and it's added stress. Like she said, it's added stress. Like I can't even express myself for one. And then I'm coming into the house with a whole bunch of chaos. So I can't even vent to you how I would want to vent to you because I'm already mad. So like Shanice said, I'm a person that I didn't know how to communicate, how to express my feelings, and I kept everything bottled in. I was a person that held grudges. Like I had a lot going on as a kid. Like, and everybody to this day always say, like, Shanice, you was angry, you was a mean person, you was intimidating. Not that I meant that, but I built up that wall to protect myself, my feelings. And sometimes we just talk to ourselves in our head, like, we getting through this. We're going to get through this. Like, today wasn't going to be a good day. So, no, I didn't have that safe place to be able to just talk and vent about how I feel. So, no, I didn't have that safe place.
I would like to say this, Shanice, just to add on to dealing with the safe place. It also depends on how you grew up. See, when I grew up, I was literally raised with my mother, then my father, then foster kid. So when you raised up in so many unstable environments, how can you have a safe place? It's really hard to find who you can really trust.
Consistency.
So, and it's really hard to find who you can trust, who you can really talk to. So it also depends on how you was raised. Were you raised in that foster care with your parents? Did they make it a safe place?
Yes.
So I really didn't have that. Oh, exactly. That grew up with me because it was very unstable.
Yeah. Because my mom, she did, make us express, our feelings. Like at the moment, she wouldn't allow us to go to sleep mad or angry at each other. When my mama upset us, she said, baby, I love you. Give mama a kiss. She reassured us. So that's why I feel like my relationships with my siblings is great, because we can't be with each other for more than an hour. We have to express how we feel. We don't hold nothing in. Like we're honest with each other, like raw feelings. Like if you're doing something foul, I'm gonna tell you you're doing something foul. My mama built, she, built that, safe place for us to be able to express ourselves amongst each other. Like, hey, sister, mad. I don't like what you did earlier, something like that. But like, as far as me, like going through what I was going through, like a lot of things that I went through as a child, I wasn't able to just come out and be like, mama, hey, this is my truth. Like, this is what I went through. Like this, and a lot of things I held in until I was probably like 19 or 20 years old, because I was at that safe place. So
I definitely want to piggyback when you said that safe place to talk about our truth. It's like we had to hide behind these masks and say, I'm okay. Like I had my first child when I was 16 years old. And I wear my feelings on my shoulders. I didn't want to express that and show people my vulnerability and my weakness, because I already had a ex on me, if that makes sense. Like I already had that ex. She ain't gonna be nothing. She ain't gonna do nothing with her life. She a teen parent. So I already had a disadvantage. So now I'm like, I gotta make it. I gotta make sure I go to school. I gotta make sure I have a job. I gotta make sure I provide for my child. So I went in straight in survivor mode, not only in survivor mode financially, but also mentally. And I felt like when I went into survivor mode, like Tanisha was saying, I was dying. Like I was living, but I was dying internally because I could not live in my truth. I couldn't say that I was hurting, because if I say I'm hurting, I knew one day you was gonna break, and it was like, boom,
depressed. What's wrong with you? Like they think like you just is the depressed person. Like, oh my God, is something always wrong? But like growing up Black, it's like we just built to be strong. Like our parents just want us to be so strong, and they don't want us to like feel. They don't want us to have feelings. Like if I call my mom today and I'm just like, Ma, I had a hard day today, I don't know, she'll automatically be like, it's okay, girl, you're gonna be okay. That's the end of the conversation. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. It's like, no.
What happened today? Like that's just how it is growing up Black. Like, and I feel like that's going back, generations. Like,
yes,
built to be strong. It's hard for women to be women because like what we've been through, like we're built to like just be strong, a strong person, like just carry so many things, like taking out the trash, taking care of the kids, having a full-time job. Like we just everything about
yes, like I have, like it's okay for me to walk around with the world on my shoulders, but meanwhile I'm broken. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back, like she said, to generations. Like our ancestors, they had no choice but to survive. Like they had no choice but to say, I have to be strong. They didn't know how to say I'm weak. Even if they wanted to say it, they couldn't even say it. And it goes back to women holding, that goes back to the generational trauma. And that goes back to that women, we hold our trauma in our guts. So imagine, and our mothers carry us in our stomachs. So imagine we internalize it as babies, all that trauma. And then we grow up and then we have to deal with our own trauma. So my next topic I definitely want to talk about is revealing secrets. Revealing those secrets. One of the things that we see in the community, what happened, and it's a Black community, and I hate to always address it, but I'm gonna talk about what I know inside of my community and not everybody else's, and what happens, what I grew up on. And we always say, what happens in this house stays in this house, right? And we grow up with this, what happens in my house stays in my house. And then we feel like if I tell this person this, I'm gonna get in trouble. But then we don't tell our children. They grow up with all these secrets. Imagine, I'm trying to say it in a place that people can understand where I'm coming from. Imagine a whole bloodline got all these secrets, everybody holding these secrets, all these spirits running rapid in his bloodline. Nobody's talking about nothing, but everybody's holding it in. And God is saying, I need you to
set it free.
Open your mouth. I need you to tell your story. But then you're saying, no, if I say something, then my family is going to find out. If I say something, I'm going to lose family members. If I say something, I'm going to lose friends. And God is saying, no, I need you to tell your truth. And I can attest to this firsthand when I wrote my book. All hell broke through, okay? I'm like, hold on. I was excited. Like, oh, I'm finna write my first book. Oh, I'm an author. I'm out here in these streets. Mama, I made it. You know what I'm saying? And then, I mean, I felt like I was the black sheep again. Now everybody on the phone, girl, you know she wrote that book. Girl, she had the nerve to say she was molested. When she was molested? It's my truth. This is my truth. So then it felt like I wanted to go back in the bathroom. Like, God, did I do something wrong? You told me to write it. You told me to tell the truth. So I definitely want to talk about this. Who want to go ahead and tag team this? Reveal the secrets. How does that affect the bloodline? And how does that cause trauma? Or how did it cause trauma in your bloodline? If it did, Eureka.
Okay, so well, I didn't have a lot of those kind of things like being molested and things like that because for one, wasn't nobody playing with my grandma and wasn't nobody playing with my daddy. Like those two, wasn't nobody gonna try me because, you know, for one, my daddy just wasn't having it and everybody had too much respect for my grandmother. But there were some things that I recently found out about my childhood that was really devastating. And it actually did, create to the trauma that I experienced, as far as my mother not being in my life. And finding that out, it was really, really difficult. People involved I actually had to step away from for a while. I had to cut contact for a while because I needed to process the information that I learned. And what I am grateful for is that now I'm able to talk to my mother and get the understanding of what actually happened, and deal with it in a way where she doesn't feel ashamed. I don't feel ashamed. The other people may feel ashamed, and that's a secret, honestly, that I'm not willing to reveal yet because I know that person is not at peace. And something about you can. I'm a firm believer. You can tell your truth, and this is is different for every person. I believe that everybody has their own truth, and you tell your truth how it fits you. For me personally, I'm very protective of those people, even unfortunately, even the ones who contributed to my trauma. I'm protective of them because I know that they didn't do it to intentionally traumatize me. I know that they didn't do it because they have evil in their hearts. They were suffering as well from generational trauma. And so rather than expose their secrets as to how it affected me, I'm dealing with it in the capacity in which I need to deal with it. And I want to give them the respect of revealing their own truth.
Yes.
And so that's not necessarily saying, oh, I'm sweeping things under the rug. No, I'm dealing with it actively. But I'm also respecting the other person that is involved to be able to deal with their own truth. Unfortunately, it didn't
Yes.
me, but they have that right to deal with their own truth without their secrets being exposed in a way that they're not able to handle it. And I understand what it means that everybody has a different capacity to deal with things. Everyone has a different level of healing in their journey.
Yes.
And where I am now, I'm able to recognize when someone else isn't there. And
yes.
so
And give them grace.
Because I've gotten on the other side of it, I can honor and respect that other person in spite of what their choices were and let them handle their own journey and their own truth in the way that they can and still be able to heal from mine.
I love that. I definitely would say giving that other person grace. Giving that other person grace, because we have to understand. I know a lot of people, and then Shalisa, I want you to go next. I know a lot of people look at it when they are molested or when they are raped, that they hold that in and they don't say anything, or they hate the other person. But when they fail to understand is, especially when it's generational and it's the bloodline, and it's like family members, that person is sick. And not to give that person an excuse. I would never give a person an excuse to do anything like that. But we have to understand it's a spirit behind everything. And molestation, rape, all those are spirits, y'all. Those are not physical people walking around saying, I'm a monster, I want to rape. Those are spirits that is transferred to each generation due to unforgiveness, due to whatever their sin was, is passed down. That's why it's so important for you to heal. By Darika standing up and saying, you know what, I'm not gonna hate this person, I'm not gonna shame this person, I'm gonna love on this person, I'm gonna let them deal with them, but I'm gonna deal with me. By her healing from that, guess what? Now she can pass down wholeness to her baby and not bitterness.
Molestation and rape is not my story. I did not experience that.
That's not her story.
That's not my story. I have another story, but I'm not going to tell that. What I will say is that this person contributed to my mother not being in my life, and I'll say that.
Right.
So that's my story. That's my truth. Molestation and rape was not it. I don't want nobody on here. Oh, Darika said so and so raped. Nope, that is not what I said.
Right, I'm just using it as an example, y'all. I'm just using it
just to be clear. Okay.
All right, Shalisa, now your turn. What do you think about family members holding secrets and not allowing things to just rad? I ain't gonna say rad, but y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying.
Okay. I feel like holding generational secrets, it kind of sort of keeps your bloodline basically in bondage, if that makes sense. Because if you go through a childhood trauma, I feel like the devil keeps taking that and reusing it for your bloodline to stay, stagnant. Like if you have a purpose in life and you go through a trauma, that trauma can either make you or break you. That trauma can hold you from your purpose. It can allow you to hold grudges on certain people. And growing up, I did hold a lot of grudges, with certain situations, and I feel like it kept me stagnant in a way because in reality, the person that hurt you or harmed you, they don't think about you no more. You get what I'm saying? Like they live in their life, and they probably continue to do the same, thing to other people, but you sitting here mad and angry and holding resentment in your heart. And the devil is happy because he has you, sitting there. You're not thinking about your goals. You're not thinking about what you want to do with the rest of your life because you're holding in this secret that hurt you, this secret that, like I said, could have broken you. But I feel like my secrets that I held, I feel like God gave me the strength to do so that I can mature and know how to express without expressing it out of anger, if that makes sense. So, like I said, I feel like generational secrets can hold your bloodline in bondage.
I love it.
It does.
That right there, the whole. I don't think people understand, like holding in not just secrets, holding in emotions, holding in emotions that can create a whole cycle of just your bloodline just plagued, right? Have you ever met I hate to say it this way, but just a whole line of women, everybody just bitter. Like how all y'all angry, like how every woman in y'all bloodline and family is just angry and bitter.
It didn't release and let go. And
then
us being the devil see how that trauma affected us. Of course he's gonna be like, oh, okay, she got a daughter, she got a son.
Now let me hear her.
Yeah, let me go ahead and utilize this, trauma to keep their bloodline, in bondage and stagnant, so that nobody can grow, nobody can walk in their purpose, because the devil don't, want us to walk in our purpose. He don't want us to get closer to God. He don't want us to, be all that God has us to be. He wants us to just stay, mad, bitter. He wants us to be angry, hold resentment, hold grudges, because in all of those things, there is no growth.
No growth. And I will see, at first I didn't understand, like, how can all of them be so
trauma and they ain't never released a
why are y'all angry? Why are y'all bitter? And it goes back to that trauma. And then moms, you gotta look at, I look at it as like this, and I don't mean it this way. If you guys take it as a harm, then that means it's an inner reflection that you need to heal of. Yeah. But brokenness raising brokenness, and that's what's happening in this generation. People like, oh, these kids is disrespectful. No, something wrong with the parent. And I hate to break it down that way and hate to say it that way, but because kids learn.
It's a learned trait. That's true.
Kids learn by example. And I'm gonna give you an example. My daughter, her attitude, me and her can go. However, I take full responsibility of all those seeds that I planted in her when I was angry. I take full responsibility of all those seeds I planted in her when I didn't know no better. I take full responsibility of everything that I planted in her. But it also can be uprooted by me sticking to my healing and obeying God. A lot of people, I don't know why I'm on this, but I'm just a lot of reason why generational trauma is passed down and curses is formed is because of disobedience to God. And if God tell you to go forgive that person and you don't forgive him, you cannot get pissed off that your whole bloodline is riddled with poverty. You can, and God told you, gave you an idea, told you to start this business, and you didn't start it, and you disobeyed God, and now you wonder why your whole bloodline is poverty. And I'm hitting another one. I know y'all not gonna like this, and I don't care because I feel like this is something God want to touch on. Everybody around here robbing God, ain't paying y'all tax because y'all worried about what the church gonna do with the money. And then you worried about why you stricken with poverty. You stricken with poverty because you robbing God. Did he not say in Malachi 3:10, why do you rob me? Why do you rob me? And so a lot of times they look at it like, why am I under generational curse? Why am I dealing with this trauma? Because of disobedience. How can you, or these illnesses that's inside of our bloodline, those are physical manifestations of you not healing. I never forget this woman I followed in time. I want you to tag this woman that I follow, and she know Tanisha know who I'm talking. She was actually our mentor for writing our books. She said that she was so sick, and she would go to the doctors, and the doctors could not figure out what was wrong with her. And she said it wasn't until God revealed to her, because of the anger, the resentment, and the bitterness that she held on to. That's why she was bleeding blood clots. That's why she woke up every day angry, because you got to look at it. When you holding all that stuff, your body is literally like a walking TIG bomb, a person that's like easily angered. You listen to them and they snapping off. Y'all, that person is broken and they need to be healed. And they are.
I just had this conversation earlier, and I had this conversation with a loved one about a week ago. Someone that's very, very close to me comes off very nonchalant, very I don't care. But while I was talking to her, I was like, but you do care about her. And that's why you said it in such an aggressive way, because you do care, and you pretending that you don't care is the very reason why you have all of these unexplained aches and pains. You have all of these issues. You continuously going to the doctor. The doctor don't know what's wrong with you. The doctor can't tell you what the problems are, because what you're feeling in your body is those suppressed emotions that you have that you're not dealing with, because you're constantly trying to convince yourself that you don't care, and you actually do. And you got aches and pains in your knees and your back and your stomach. You got bad digestion. You're not even 25 years old. Ooh. A result of suppressed emotions. You have not dealt with, because you insist that you don't care when you really do. Yeah. So that's something that I've been dealing with, and I realized that for myself, and that's why I've been able to lose weight. I've been able to get more active in doing certain things, because I noticed that the way that my body felt. And I'm like, I'm having issues that I shouldn't have, knowing that, diabetes runs in my family, high blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, it ran in my family, but it stops with me, because I'm not having no diabetes. I'm not going to have no high blood pressure.
Right.
I'm not going to
have your head, the black girl here.
Right. I'm not having any of that. So while I'm dealing with my emotional health, I'm also simultaneously dealing with my physical health, because I refuse to have any of those issues. I'm too fine to be walking around here with diabetes. And high blood pressure, taking pills. I don't even like pills. So I'm not about to be taking no pills for the rest of my life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heal emotionally and mentally, and I'm also going to actively work on my physical health, so that those things are not carried on.
Right. I think one of the biggest lies that we believe as women is literally strength is equivalent to holding. That is not the truth. Strength is not equivalent to holding anything. Because I hold my tears, because I don't complain, because I don't talk about what bothers me, I'm strong. That is a lie.
Strength is being
you're not getting healed, so you're neglecting yourself, and you weaken yourself and weaken everyone that's connected to you, even your bloodline, because you holding it. Let's talk about it. Can we stop equivalating strength to holding things as women when we literally slowly dying?
Right.
Come on.
allow yourself.
It's literally time for us to really stop holding secrets, express what's really the deal, what's really going on within us. So our children don't have to experience that. It's time for us to stop with the secrets and expose it all. Listen, with my truth ain't got nothing to do with you. I got to tell it because I don't want my son, or my daughter to be able to repeat the cycle. I don't want it no more. So what I do for me and my family, that's my business. Okay, you don't have to accept that. And they don't. They don't have to accept that you express what's going on within you.
The reason why they don't. I noticed the reason why. I noticed as I was healing, I couldn't understand why people was coming at me. And so God revealed to me the reason why they're coming at me because you're exposing their pain.
Yeah.
And they
Come
don't
on.
That's exactly what it is.
You saying it better than they
exactly
could.
what it is.
I know she's finding out what's wrong with me, and I
You
felt
holding
better.
up that mirror.
Yes.
You holding up that mirror.
Let's talk about that.
Exactly. You telling them better than they can say it themselves.
I know we was going to go to the generational health, but let's talk about that mirror. Let's talk about that because a lot of people have a lot of time. People will stop healing because their best friend or their favorite auntie or their favorite uncle start dismissing them. And they like, oh, I need them in my life. Let me stop healing. No, all you doing is exposing what's wrong with them. And now they pissed at you because you are exposing them. And not just that. Shalisa was having this conversation one day. A lot of times people benefiting off of your brokenness and your wholeness is making them look broken. So I'm gonna need you to stay broken so I can have an excuse to be broken. No, what's gonna happen is you're gonna hop on this train of wholeness or you just gonna fall off. So Tanisha, I want you to talk about that. Talk about that mirror. And then I want Shalisa to tag it and I want Darita to tag it.
I just look at it like this. How do you know that there's something wrong with you? Oh, Jesus, have your way. Because I know you about this shift in this. How do you know there's something wrong with you if it has not been exposed? If God don't reveal to you on what's really going on within your heart, how do you know what needs to be changed? How do you know? You don't know what needs to be changed if it's not exposed. Come on. It's time for us to really be looking in that mirror and say, you know what? Some things need to get off. Like some things, listen, this need to be exposed. This need to be thrown away. This need to never come back. This thing right here, Lord, show me myself. Show me me. Show me what's going on. Show me in the what's hidden, what's inside of me. Show me me. And then when he show you, listen, you're going to have to be willing to accept that too. Because sometimes he'll show you through your kids. He'll show you through someone else. And you got to be willing to accept that too.
Definitely.
That's true too. No matter how you put it, that's true. God is showing you because sometimes you didn't hear it through your kids. So now you got to hear it through a perfect stranger. Sis, you got issues. Wait, huh? You'll hear it through a stranger better than you'll hear it through your kids. Sis, you got issues. Wait, huh? You got anger issues. Okay, you abusive. Okay, now you need to get checked. Okay, you need to get right.
Some people don't think women can be abusive and it's only men. And I was in an abusive relationship and I talk about it all the time, but I want y'all to understand I was abusive too. He got a couple of mayonnaise off his head and a couple of mops, irons, brooms. Okay, I was angry.
With those mirrors, we need to be willing to accept what we see in front of us and what is exposed. And we need to be able to deal with it. I think for so long, I did not want to deal with those areas that needed to be healed. When I got married, I started to see certain things and I didn't like it. I literally had to deal with that mirror.
It really come out of mirror.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I was fighting against it. God, like, no, it's right in your face. You need to heal from this. Because you can't pass this down. You cannot pass it down. So you don't heal while you single. You're going to heal while you unmarried. Well, he going to force you to heal while you married because you're going to be faced with that mirror. You're going to be faced with that mirror.
Yeah.
See, that's why I want to heal.
I was just getting ready to say relationships, honestly, are like the biggest mirror for you.
Come on.
Your relationships, your very first relationships start with your parents. And whatever those issues with your parents are going to show up in your significant others, your relationship with them. If you got daddy and mama issues, your man is gonna show your daddy and your mama issues like you ain't never seen before.
Yes.
And you're gonna be like, what is this? And you find yourself in these situations, you having unnecessary arguments, and it's like this big bright light in your face that is, you did this, you said that, because that's what was said to you, because that's what was done to you. You're afraid of this because that's what your mama and your daddy did, and you afraid that this person will do the same thing. Those insecurities that come out in them relationships is because those insecurities were fed to you by your parents. Those second guesses, those were all instilled in you by your parents. And so a lot of times people don't even understand why they have insecurities. It may not have been because your high school boyfriend cheated on you. It was because your daddy didn't keep his word to you when he was supposed to when you were a kid, and you carried that insecurity and you don't trust your man. Or and so that's the type of stuff that relationships and I feel like personally, divine relationships are the key. God will bring those people. God will send you that man that's going to show you everything that you need to heal from. God is going to bring you that woman that's going to show you everything that you need to heal from.
Come on.
And you have to be willing to submit to that.
Submit to it.
You have to submit totally. Otherwise, you're going to keep creating it. And the relationship, the marriage, it can last, it can work if you're committed to dealing with those issues and working through them and healing through them. If it don't last, you're going to carry that on to the next relationship. If you don't
pass it down to your children's children,
pass it down to your children.
Come on.
You're going to pass it down to your kids. Your kids are going to see how those same unhealthy relationship patterns, your children are going to see that.
Exactly.
They're going to see all of your insecurities showing. They're going to think that this is what relationships are supposed to look like. And then now you have another generation of unsuccessful and toxic and dysfunctional relationships because that's what you show to your kids.
And it's so true. And I'm glad you said that. I just want to say one more thing. What also allowed me to change and accept what God had for me was the fact that, to be honest, I was dating men from the street. So that was the lifestyle I was in. I was literally like, listen, the men from the street, that was what I was down with. And God was like, not so. You know what come along with that. You know what lifestyle come along with that. And I was like, I do not want to pass that down to my children. I don't want to pass that. So when God brought a man in front of me, my husband in front of me, he ain't from the street or none of that. You know that was something new. You know that was something completely new. And I was like, Lord, I'm going to submit to you because I know I don't want to have to deal with that drug life. I don't want to have to deal with that listen, going to jail, writing letters and stuff, dealing with all of that. I don't want to have to deal with that. So Father God, I submit to you. However you want this to be, that's how we going to have this.
Holding it down for him while he locked up for 10 plus years. Who's doing that?
Come on. And let's talk about the fact that what comes with that drug life is also, my child father was shot. He got shot. So in that lifestyle of being with somebody from the streets, you gotta come. Listen, all of that comes. All of that comes.
Okay,
that comes with the territory.
What do you
feel? I was like, no.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel about? We've been talking about a lot. Go ahead and tag. I know you got something because I forgot what we was talking about.
Going back, a lot of times the mirror, the reflection that we see is just like us when we look in the mirror and we done gained 20 pounds. We just like, okay, I'm not looking in the mirror no more. Like, I don't want to take it, and stuff. With the mirror, seeing that reflection of like anxiety, fear, all of these things, you try your best to avoid that mirror. Like, I'm learning my healing, like, bring everything to the forefront. Like, I pray all the time, like, Lord, I want to deal with every trauma that I have. I want you
to
all of them head on. I don't want to attack one at a time. I just want to deal with all of them all at once. And I feel like a lot of people,
that dangerous prayer.
Like in my process of healing, it gets scary sometimes. When you start digging deeper, and it's sometimes you just sit there and you just be stuck. Like, am I really ready for this?
Yes.
Like a lot of people just get comfortable and stagnant. Like, okay, life is, fine for me. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows that I don't have to share this. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to share this truth. I don't have to heal. I'm fine. I work a good job. I make enough money to pay my rent and my bills. I'm getting by, And I feel like as people get older, it becomes just a comfortability. They don't want to dig deeper.
Yeah.
They don't, fight. And I'm at a point right now where I'm just like, I grew up fighting. Right now, I want to fight spiritually. You get what I'm saying? Like everything that I've ever been through in my life, I'm ready to just fight, to be whole with God and dig deeper in my spirituality. And then I want to retro back on relationships and how some of the things that we go through as children with our dads. Like I didn't have my dad in my life. My dad was killed before I was 15 years old, before I was 16 years old. So I didn't have my dad. I had a father figure in my life that I really, I loved him, deeply. He treated us, as his kids. But it does go back to like everything in a relationship, like me being in a relationship with my kid's father. Like I said, everything bottled up. Everything that I've ever been through in my life, I'm bottled up. I'm a teenager. So me and my baby dad used to fist fight. You know what I'm saying? I done bust him in his lip a couple times, and it goes back
Girl,
to
I could testify.
And I can too.
Yeah,
okay.
A single house thugs for real.
So long, just your mom and
he just abusive.
And killing animals, making sure your mama, not protecting your mom because you don't have that male figure in the house. So
right.
It for me to be a person. So it was hard for me to allow a man to be a man, if that makes sense, in my life, because I was just a strong person. Like it was
talk about it.
It was hard for me to tear down that wall, and now I'm experiencing, a friend coming in my, and allow me to see things in a different way. That's why I said about relationships, like, and they help you heal from certain things. Like, you don't have to take out the trash all the time. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be so hard all the time. Like, learn how to be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be a
feminine.
It's okay, select your partner. It's okay.
It's okay to be vulnerable. Talk about that.
Welcome. Like I said, it's cool. But thank you, welcome. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in relationships, like, even if it's not your husband or your, friends, your friends can be these people that come into your life and bring light to like your traumas and the things that you need to heal from. And I feel like when God starts to pluck and prune you, it's just that time. Like you just
it's that time.
Yes.
Access and allow him to pluck and prune you in every way that you need to be plucked and pruned.
I love that Shalisa said vulnerability. That's a lot that I think that the Black community lack, and we passed it down.
They think it's
and we passed that thing down. God was dealing with me in a month of March, I want to say, about unmasking. And I just started praying to him like, God, I want to be vulnerable. I was so hot-headed, and so I got to be so strong that I didn't even allow God to be God in my life. I didn't even allow him to be my daddy in my life. I didn't even allow him to take on everything. Before we got on this live about an hour, I laid prostrate, and I've been doing this lately. I'm noticing that. And I laid prostrate, and I'm like, Daddy, I feel like the world is on my shoulders. And it was like he said to me, give me your Superwoman Kate. Because I've been doing so much today. Give me your Superwoman Kate. Give it to me, and I'm going to be your Superman. You don't need to carry everything.
That's right.
At you. And I had told him, I was honest. I was really honest. God, I want to receive your love. I want to give you the Superwoman Kate. I don't know how. And that's the bad part. And that's what we pass down to our girls. We pass this down like, oh, it's okay. You have to do this, and you have to stay strong. You don't have time to feel. You have to survive. And I have been surviving since I was 16. No, I want to be able to walk on this earth and know that you got me. Another topic I want to definitely touch on, but we're gonna have to end it because it's going into an hour. But we're definitely gonna come back next week because we ain't even tag on the topic that I really want to talk about is passing that down to our kids. Like we talked about passing down our bloodline, but I don't think we really realize how much cycles that we can create by holding on to our trauma and pass down to our children. I'm gonna definitely start this conversation down, Darica. I want you to tag team it. It's Shalisa, then Tanisha. My son is 14 years old, and I'm really putting myself out there right now, but I want you guys to really understand this. I lost my first child at 14 years old. At 14, I became severely depressed. And it came to a point that depression was all I knew. Depression was all I knew all the way up to age 27 years old. Now, I want to fast forward back when my mother was like 21. She lost her first child. My grandmother was barren. She couldn't have children. Her first child died. I'm showing you guys this pattern and this cycle so you can see whatever happened in my bloodline, whatever trauma happened when it came to giving birth and having children, whatever it was, depression was tied to it. And due to the fact that depression was in my womb when I carried my son, he's now 14 years old battling the same depression that I battled at 14 years old. So it's due to that trauma that was in my grandmother's womb, in her mother's womb, in her mother's womb, in my mother's womb, in my womb, that I now transferred that same trauma due to my inability of healing was now passed down to my son. So I definitely want to talk about that. What is it something that you saw passed down in your bloodline to your children that you was like, let me go ahead and tackle this now in the spirit? Because what you ain't finna do is have my kids. And I want to recap. Definitely create a safe place for your children. Definitely reveal those secrets and talk to your kids about your mistakes. Stop acting like you got it all together when you know that you probably robbed the bank and nobody knew about it. Like, let's talk to our kids, and when they make mistakes, let's not beat them up or give them a whooping for a mistake. And I know this was something that I did to my children until God started dealing with me about it. Like, hold on, wait, why are you whooping them for a mistake? And it developed a stigma about them about making mistakes. If I make this mistake, then I'm gonna get yelled at. If I make this mistake, I can't go and tell my mom. If I make this mistake, did that mean I'm not worthy? So that I definitely want you to tag team this. What is something that made you really wake up like, I need to heal because I'm passing this down to my baby?
I would say, well, I first realized that when I was pregnant. The first argument that Casey's dad and I had when I was pregnant, and I realized that I was dealing with some insecurities, I immediately sought therapy. It was difficult because things got worse and worse with me and him. But what I recognized within my daughter that pushed me to a different level was I had started to become bitter and angry, and it was coming out in her. She was becoming more aggressive, and she's like the happiest kid in the world. And I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna work. I have to get a hold of my emotions and how I deal with things, because I know that the way that I'm dealing with it is not okay. And then I'm seeing my baby deal with it this way, and that's not okay either. I'm not raising an angry Black woman. I'm just not gonna do it.
Not today.
An angry Black woman. I refuse to be an angry Black woman. I'm not going to raise one either. So I'm going to deal with this, and I'm going to help her deal with how she feels, because at the age that she is now, she's 5. I got her behavior therapy at 3 years old. That's when she learned to identify her emotions. And even to this day, she's frustrated, when she's angry, when she is upset. At 5 years old, she can identify those emotions. I know 55-year-olds who cannot identify those emotions.
I know a 32-year-old man that cannot.
So, I wanted her to recognize what she felt and be able to express that, in a way where she felt safe enough to do so. And then we can work through how she feels. And that is exactly what she has been doing. And I'm so thankful for that, because it allows me to even check myself. And if I don't, she'll check me. She checks me when I'm not in a good mood.
Definitely.
She checks me, Mommy, you're not being very nice. And I'd be like, oh, okay.
My kids definitely does. And I'll be like, girl.
And I have to be like, okay, because my baby's recognizing it. She's seeing what I'm feeling. And she's able to identify that in me. And I'm like, all right, I got to get this. I got to get my attitude right. So I tell her, she knows that I'm in therapy. And so when I have my therapy sessions or whatever, I let her know Mommy's having her therapy, because this is going to make Mommy a better mommy for you. And she gives me that time and she gives me that space to be able to do that. Otherwise, she's going to be sitting right in my face while I'm having my therapy session. And I don't need her to.
And then going to school. So my mama went to therapy, and her therapist said, I definitely want to stop there 1 second. And Shalise, I want you to tag it. I want you guys to understand there's nothing wrong with therapy.
Absolutely.
I mean, my children in it, I had to realize that I was not the only person that went through abusive relationship. My kids endured everything I endured. So it's not fair for mommy to heal, and meanwhile, they're not healing. And not just that, I want my boys to grow up and be men and be able to not have their feelings desensitized. I want them to be able, and I definitely want Shalisa to tag team this, because her son is 3 and she got a real cute story that I want her to talk about. How he came and expressed himself at 3 years old.
It was actually 2.
It was 2. Oh, so it was 2. He was like a whole, but her son is like, you guys will have to see him. He's like a little man. Like he's 4, but he's like 55, somewhere in there. But he handled himself like a grown man. And I think it's because we are healing and recognizing our emotions and learning how to articulate ourselves, so we're able to give that to our children. So Shalisa, go ahead and I want you to piggyback about that. What is something that you saw that was starting to affect your children that you had to put it in check so you won't pass down that same trauma?
As Dorica, your name is Dorica?
Mm-hmm.
As Dorica said, mine was anger. So being in a relationship with my kid's father, like me, period, just growing up, I was always this angry person, on go, 24/7. I didn't want to talk to you. I didn't know how to communicate. So I went straight to like, hey, let's go. Let's fight. So with me being that way, I was that way in a relationship. So with me having my daughter, she saw me and her daddy argue. She saw us fighting. She saw me screaming to the like, you know what I'm saying? Like, baby, we just be like, let me just scream. So it had got to a point where my daughter started, like when she was mad, she'll go and do that little scream, that little and I'm like, oh my God, like, what's wrong? Like, why are you so angry? Like, what's made you angry to do this? So I started seeing like, okay, she's seeing what I'm doing. You get what I'm saying? I don't like that, because I dealt with traumas that I felt like could have, been resolved if, I talked about them. So I just started, talking to my daughter, like I tell people all the time, like my kids are my little best friends. Like if I don't talk to Shanice or my other friends, like I would sit here and have like a whole conversation with my kids about life, about anything basically. So I feel like my kids would be ready for the world, like completely. So with me having all of my anger issues built up, like I got to a point where I'm just like, I don't want to, I don't want to argue with you. Like, say what you're going to say. And then I knew I was in a toxic relationship because when he wasn't getting that reaction out of me, he continued at me until he could possibly get a reaction out of me. Like, I know you want to hit me. Go ahead and hit me. And I'm just like, okay, you see, I'm not trying to fight you right now. So why?
Because I can whoop you.
Yeah, why you trying to hit me? I'm trying to be a new person. So, and all of that, my daughter became this little angry little 3-year-old. I think she was probably like 3 years old, screaming like, and I'm like, okay, I got to stop. So in all of that, I left the relationship eventually, and I started learning like, you got to sit down, you got to talk to your children, allow them to express themselves fully. So now I'm allowing them to do so, Like I had talked to my son. I just kept telling him like, come here, baby. Let me, come here. You know how you tell kids like, come here. They don't come, but you continue to say, come here. So I had, got to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pat your butt because you didn't listen to me. I'm not patting your butt for what you just did, but I'm patting your butt because you didn't listen to me. So in me patting his butt for not listening to me, after the day went by, he was just like, dang, Mom, you was just so angry at me. Like you were really angry. And I couldn't understand what he was saying to me because he was so young. So his sister was like, Mom, he said you was angry at him. And I'm like, yeah, Mommy was angry at you because you didn't listen to me. And he was like, yeah, I know, Mommy. I'm going to listen to you next time. And then every time after that, when he did something, he'll say, Mommy, you want to talk to me or you want to pat my butt? And I'm just like, I want to talk to you. So I'm like, and that's how it should be with our kids. We should allow them to express themselves. And I was, proud of myself as a mom because I'm like, dang, my baby not even, 3 yet. And he's able to express to me because a lot of times with our boys being boys, they become men. And our men don't know how to love. They don't know how to express their feelings because the dads are always like, oh, why he crying? He's a little crybaby. No, allow him to express how he want to feel. If he wants to cry right now, allow him that time to cry. If he want to say, Mommy, I'm angry. I don't feel like being bothered with nobody. Allow them to feel how they want to feel. Him crying does not make him less of a man. It does not. Our boys eventually become men. They still have to feel. They're still human.
Yes.
Hugging on your baby boy and kissing your baby boy and telling your baby boy Mommy loves you, that does not make him less of a man. You playing your part as a father in his life will make him less.
It does not make him weak.
Instilling certain things in him to become a man, it can make him less. But me telling my baby I love him and holding him and kissing him, that does not make him less of a man. Him crying when he feels like crying does not make him less of a man. And I feel like that's a lot. That's what's wrong with our men, our black men. They were not
unhealed black men. Unhealed.
Yes, unhealed. And it's so crazy that you said that because my son is now in therapy, and I was telling the therapist, like, his brothers don't make his dad make fun of him when he cries a lot. And I was like, and I wanted him to know, like, that's his uniqueness. Like, a woman gonna love that you like to cry. Come here, daddy. Like that's you expressing. A woman gonna love the fact that you're able to cry and express yourself. And if she don't like it, you see what I'm saying? Come here. And if she don't like it, then you need to leave her. Because I'm gonna be that mama. I'm telling y'all that. Mess with my son if you want to. I'm gonna come to your house. But don't mess with my son. Because I'm training them to get them ready for their wives to be able to
be a man.
Yes, and I tell my boys all the time, I'm a boy. No, you're
an intelligent man.
Yes,
emotional intelligence is what we're aiming for.
Right, okay. Not just the crier, just to cry every second, just to cry. Because I experienced that too, just crying all day. Ain't nobody got time for no man to be crying all day. You need to get it together, okay? I'm just saying. All day long, give me a break.
Yes, and that's what my son, his therapist was trying to tell him, like, don't water down the fact that you are in tune with your emotions. That is a plus. But meanwhile, my son over here thinking something is wrong with him because he is in tune with his emotions. No, baby, there's nothing wrong with you. That's a good thing. Let people know how you feel, and that's what we try. My daughter is how old is Anaya? I'm sorry, y'all. I got 8 kids. She 9.
God bless you. Oh,
she 9. Okay. And sometimes I forget their age. That's fine though. I don't forget their birthdays. I bet you I don't do that. Right. She 9. And the therapist was saying, like, she articulates herself very well. So my children, even though all the stuff that they've been through and they seen some kind of way, I was still able to help them to be able to articulate their emotions. So let your children be able to say how they feel without you going down their throat because they feel that way.
I feel like saying, shut up, go sit down. Ain't nothing wrong with you.
I don't even use the word "shut up" with my daughter. That's a bad word in this house. And if she hear me say it to somebody else, she says, "Mommy, that's a bad word."
No, say that.
Stupid.
You heard my son. He said, "I want to go to her house." I did it. Get out. I'm sorry, Darren. You got not through it yet. Sometimes I do be like, "Shut up." I'm got not through it. I'm learning. Okay.
I mean, it's really like how we talk to them. How we talk to them is how they talk to themselves. It's how they
and how they talk back to us.
Yeah, how they talk back to us, how they receive, how other people talk to them is how we talk to them. And so there are words that I don't say to my daughter at all. Like "shut up" is not a word that I say to her. I refuse, because even as an adult woman, a man that I'm dealing with, he is not allowed to tell me to shut up. You tell me to shut up.
No, ma'am, he not.
I will walk away from you. You can't tell me to shut up. And if you cursing at me, it better be on some we playing and it's a general conversation. Don't curse at me when you mad, because that's disrespectful to me. So
I think
period.
I'm not even talking about just like calling me out my name. I'm just in general. Don't curse at me.
Right.
Because we are adults. There are many words in the English language. You're going to have to find out how to communicate with me in a better way than you.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's how I talk to my daughter, is how my daughter talks to me, how she talks to other people. And that's how she's going to set the standard of how people talk to her.
I think, Shanice, when it came to one of the things that I was, when it came to the relationship factor, it was communication. Oh, I'm sorry. It's kind of cutting up a little bit.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I muted my kids. I muted.
Okay. When it comes to communication, when I tell you when I was younger, I didn't really have like my father really wasn't really too patient when it came to, having long conversations or even just listening. So I noticed that also traveled through me when my son was talking, or even other kids were talking. I'm like, I just don't have the tolerance to hear. And I'm like, yo, this really has to break. Like this generational curse thing of not having, good communication has to stop. I have to be able to sit here and listen to him. I have to be able to sit here and communicate with him. Break that cycle of bad communication, because if he can't communicate, like, come on, dealing with a son that cannot communicate what he really going through, he gonna wind up being silent and also quiet about things that's really going on with him. I don't need that. So I was like, Lord, you need to heal me from, the past trauma of not, really having, that parent there to really communicate effectively and listen effectively to me when I'm expressing my needs. And I said, I don't want to pass that down to my son, because if something really is going on with him, I want to hear that. I want to be in tune to what's really going on with him. So I would say for me personally, communication is the key.
Is key. Yes.
When you talk about like a lot of the kids now who are so violent, they're violent because they're acting out their emotions that they not.
Yes. I saw it
have
firsthand.
not been able to communicate how they feel, and it's showing up in their actions and their behavior, and they're angry. They're so angry. They have so much pent up on the inside of them.
And I am first. My son was diagnosed with ADHD.
Like you seen the videos that's going viral of like how violent, like they're trying to hurt their peers. Like it's like, I want to hurt you so bad. And it's like, this person didn't do anything to you to want to hurt them that badly. You're so hurt, and you got to take it out on somebody, because you don't know what else to do with what you're feeling, because they were not allowed to communicate that.
Right.
Like I see these videos and it just hurts my heart looking at these babies.
And I feel like that's in. And I definitely believe that we need to create a safe place for men to come and talk. Because there's so many men that have been not giving them an excuse to act the way that they act, but there's so many men that have been molested, that have been raped, they have identity issues. It's so many men that's depressed. It's so many men that have post-traumatic syndrome because of stuff they went through. It's so many men that was raised by bitter mamas. It's so many men that was raised by broken moms. It's so many men that have so many issues. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be their doctor, and I'm not creating creating an excuse for them, but it's so many men out here that's hurting. It's real. It's so many men out here that wish they can talk, that can't talk, and they want to talk, but they are afraid to talk. Because if I tell you I was raped, if I tell you I was molested,
you're gonna judge me.
You're gonna judge me
as less of a man. I've experienced that. And it's like, no, and I've actually had to tell men, I do not see you as less of a man. This does not make me this doesn't make me feel any less respect for you. Like what you're feeling, you can talk to me. I've been seeing a lot of this stuff about, Black women don't need to be the rehabilitation center for no man and all this other kind of stuff. And I get that. And I actually just had this conversation earlier. There's a balance. There's a balance in how we deal with them, giving them grace, giving them understanding and compassion while still allowing them to be men. What we have done is we've taken on the roles of being their mothers, and then we've also taken on their masculine identity because they're not operating in it effectively. And so we're taking it on.
But a lot of times I feel like quick. I feel like men they operate in some because we the men.
Yeah,
that's exactly
that's the problem. A lot of these men want to be men in a relationship. They don't know how to be men.
Too masculine.
They want us to be masculine, but they want us to carry so many things. But then when we try to be feminine, we can't be feminine. But then when they try to make us feminine, we want to be hard. So it's like this like a war that's going on.
We just need to get healed.
Bottom line.
We need to get healed.
Bottom line. I definitely want to talk about the identity though. And we're going to actually start next week at identity because it's so much power in a mom knowing who she is, knowing her purpose, walking in her gifts, I said know who she are.
Did you go?
Yeah.
You go.
Right. Look, y'all, I am from the hood, literally. Like, are we not, Derica?
Straight hood.
Straight from the hood. I'm surprised how good Derica talk. I'm like, whoa, we was raised in the hood.
Listen, I'm gonna give my language to the Lord. Lord, it's because of you.
Yes, and you know what? When he told me I was a speaker back in 2018, I told him the very first thing I said, God, you know I got
2016, right?
Speech impediment.
Yes.
You know I got a speech impediment.
Yes.
I want to talk about identity next week. That's the very first thing I want to talk about because it's trauma tainted your identity in Christ.
So
trauma
this part 2?
Weighs you. This is part 2. We're gonna do part 2.
Okay.
So we gonna end it, but we're gonna end it, you guys. But I want to let you guys know I'm not gonna leave you empty-handed for those that have watched, the ones that have watched the whole time. Y'all, it's true out there in the streets. But I have a link inside the video. So if you like, how do I know that I'm operating generational trauma? How do I know I have these triggers? How do I know I have it's generational curses and cycles? I have created an assessment that will make awareness assessments so you can see your own trauma, so you can see your trauma in your bloodline. So if you guys just watching, if you hit that link, you will get a downloadable. It's free. It will go straight to your email soon. Hit that link, right? Share. But hit that link and you will be able to download the ebook. It's free. Like I said, it's a self-awareness assessment. So you can see if you're operating generational trauma. It's also an assessment to help you identify generational curses through cycles that you see and repeating in your bloodline. You will be able to be more self-aware that you're passing it down. Because a lot of times people don't even know that they're aware that they're passing down this lack of communication. They're passing down these traumas. They're passing down these illnesses, mental illness due to their lack of unforgiveness. People are not aware of Satan devices, and it's time to allow you to be aware of it. So like I said, download it today. It's free. If you want to go in depth, go over to Amazon and get my book. This Saturday I will be in Griffith, Indiana. For those that's in Indiana, I will be in Griffith, Indiana with my books for you to do pre-orders, and it'll be a sale. Come out and support. It's gonna be lit because you already know I'm a whole vibe. If you know me, you know. Okay. But come out and support. Share this broadcast. Share this broadcast. Y'all, this is amazing. Share this broadcast because sharing is caring, and we need to bring more awareness to generational trauma. Share.
Because there's a lot.
And also, it will be on my podcast. So tonight, I'm going to upload it on my podcast. So this will be a set to season 2 on my podcast because I'm starting that back up because I in more countries. Y'all, I'm in Australia. I am in I was gonna say Egypt. I'm in
Okay, girl.
Meaning stay freezing. Okay, she got knocked out.
Yeah, she said that was gonna happen too. It lasted long enough.
It lasted a long time. The last time she was on, it clicked out real quick.
We still live though.
Well, I just wanted to say, trauma comes in different forms, and a lot of people don't know when they have a trauma, if that makes sense. Because I know for a long time I knew of one trauma, but as I started to heal, and God, started to, transform me, that's when I started digging a little deeper, and I'm like, oh, that's a trauma. Oh, that's a trauma. So a lot of people don't know how to identify a trauma, if that makes sense.
Right. And the word trauma has become like more normal to use in everyday language before. And I honestly, when being in therapy, I didn't want to use the word trauma because I equated trauma.
Bad. Yes.
I equated trauma to like rape, molestation, abuse, and I didn't experience those things. But my trauma was technically abandonment.
It is different, like this.
And so I didn't want to identify it that way. And my therapist was like, you have to call it what it is. It has to have a name. Once you identify with it, then you have a way of releasing it. But you can't release what you're not identifying.
Exactly.
And so those labels are necessary when it comes to addressing those things. And so being able to call it trauma, being able to call it whatever the diagnosis is, if you're diagnosed with depression, if you're diagnosed with anxiety, if you're diagnosed with PTSD, being able to give it a name allows you to identify with it,
know how to deal with it.
Yeah. And so
I agree.
So like I said, for me, trauma was not a word that I wanted to use, but my therapist was like, you have to just accept that that's what it was. It was traumatic for you. That was your traumatic experience. Just because it's like what you would think another person's traumatic experience is.
Exactly.
And that's what individualizes it for me and for everyone else, because it's yours. It's not anybody else's. And it allows the healing process to move further, and not, I can't even say smooth because healing is not smooth.
It's
but
not.
Oh
to
no,
move further.
definitely not.
We be at war with ourselves, going through a healing process. I know I go be at war with myself sometimes. Like, do I really
Yeah.
know right now? But it's amazing
I don't know what happened. Y'all can hear me?
to see
Yes,
moms,
we can.
to see moms go through their trauma and heal, because it helps us help our children, if that makes sense. Because if we identify our trauma, how can we identify theirs? And it helps us to not allow somebody to traumatize our children, if that makes sense. Because I had to tell my kids' dad, like, to watch certain things that he say and do, to my kids.
Right.
I'm like, a lot of things that you do can be traumatizing. You telling your kids like, hey, daddy going, I ain't gonna see y'all no more. And then you pop back up like you traumatizing my kids, because now you onset anxiety. You onset in fear, because they like, oh, he told me this last time. I wonder if he's for real this. You know what I'm saying? We know how to avoid traumas now, like with us going through our process.
Absolutely. And that, that's what God, because I oftentimes ask God, like, well, why do I have to go through this? Like, why is this something that I have to go through?
And battles to the strongest soldiers. That's what I'm learning.
And when I think about being a mother, and the most important role to me in my life is being a mother. And the reason that is because I did not have my mother, and I know how that affected me. And so I go hard for my baby girl. Like, I go so hard for her because I know what it feels like to not have your mother. And
I think
so I've already broken the cycle. While my mom had her mom, she was physically there. Emotionally, she was not there. Whereas then my mom wasn't able to be physically or emotionally there for me. Now I am both physically and emotionally present for my daughter. So I've already broken the cycle.
I would definitely say God definitely gave it to us, because we are the roadmap to the next generation.
Right.
So it's like they will be able, like when we think about it, our parents, or like for me, my mom didn't have, when I lost my child, I didn't have no one to go those was not expressed to me. So for me, it was like, now I have that verbiage that for Dorica to say her grandmother had that verbiage to redirect her. Like, you feel this way, and this is how you feel this way. I didn't have that. So now that I have it, now I'm able to pass in a lot of ways. He helped me to see me. So I would definitely say, like, he gave it to you because you're creating that roadmap for Casey, for her kids, and any other kids that come after you, to be able to have, like, hey, this is why you feel this way, and this, they'll have that wholeness to look up to.
And we, us learning like our traumas and things like that, it helps us to be able to pull from our kids. Like, Arby just came in here crying. I said, what's wrong? Like, why are you crying? Like, are you emotional? Are you sad? Are you angry? Like, why are you crying? We know to do those things now, because it helps us know, you know what I'm saying? Instead of them just being there angry or crying. I'm like, okay, like, go back in your room. You're fine. But now it's like, hey, what's wrong? What did your brother do? Like, what made you angry?
We're going to start back up next week, you guys, because the connection is constantly going out. So come back next week at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're going to go deeper in this conversation. I said we're going to end it here because the connection keeps going off. But come on next week, same day, same time, 7 p.m. And like I said, we're going to start off with identity. Ladies, stay on, because I want to talk to you guys.